This NFL Picks Week 17 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGP underscore to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
On to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Happy week 17. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I probably forgot some in there.
Merry Christmas. We're recording this on Christmas Eve. A lot of content creators take the holidays off. Not here. Ryan, I know you're anti-holiday, but I'm still wishing you a very Merry Christmas. How does it smell in the studio? If you watch the College Football Bowls episode, my dog Garth accidentally had diarrhea in the studio. Has the studio smell recovered since then?
It was not recovering. So I took we had some additional cleaning, scented kind of bleach type stuff that I just sprayed all over the ground. And yeah, overnight with a couple windows cracked, fans going full steam. It seems like your tiny 15-pound dog ass smell has left the studio. So hopefully it's a metaphor for things to come.
Benedict Dantold shouting out, going, "Holy shit, the stars align!" And I can get in the live chat. Doesn't have family photos in the background for this Christmas. Yeah, I'm in the. I'm up hanging out with my in-laws for this Christmas. Last year I was back home with my family, side of the family. Yeah, getting ready here. Christmas Eve. We got Christmas Day NFL. Gotta love the NFL. It's like, hey, NBA, you guys aren't maximizing your opportunity on Christmas Day. We'll show you how a professional sports league disrupts a holiday. And two good games, should be pretty good matchups here. Any big picture thoughts, Ryan, going into NFL Week 17?
I mean, I got all the scenarios up, so we'll go through it as we go through the games. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, certainly the idea that we are just there are a lot of people out there riding a gravy train of favorites, and it's wait, when does the anvil drop, I guess, is one thought, as someone who has watched a roulette wheel with 15 straight reds, wondering when that black was going to show up. Also, yeah, just I don't know, it seems like there's some coaches that need to be fired. Two overarching thoughts.
Now, who are you referring to? Is that a Brian Dable call out, Ryan? Will you celebrate the firing of Brian Dable?
I would say I'm emotionally disconnected right now.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I in some ways I'm the same place I was, which is I still put more blame on the front office. Happy to blame the coaches too. I think everyone needs to be fired. I also think I said nice things about Darren Rizzi. Take his Italian American heritage and throw it out of the another just disappointing. Get him out of there. That's not working. My comments about special teams coaches, that was stupid. I'm an idiot. That team was. There's just too many teams that don't look like they can compete in the college football playoff, let alone the NFL.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of people making the joke when the Saints got destroyed. And shout out to Dick Puncher. He was helped us cash our underdog entry with the Tucker Kraft higher receiving yards. He hit the Kraft receiving ladder. My thought that Josh Jacobs under hit, but my thought that maybe the Saints could get some garbage stuff. Just that wasn't happening. The Rizzi effect is completely gone.
Your Josh Jacobs take though, early in that game, you must have been like, "Oh fuck, 10 carries in the first 22 minutes or whatever. It was not looking very sharp. And then they just said, all right, we're done. Did get to celebrate a fabulous third string running back call out and touchdown by me. But yeah, no, not much else I've spent most of the prep time, since we are early this week, on motivational stuff, because of course, what did we hear everyone talk about? The big narrative this year. I figured it out, Sean. Everyone is talking about how bad team needs it versus team doesn't need it has been. Everyone's going to be not playing that angle this year. They're going to be like, no, it's baked into the number. It's baked into it was horrible. Look at last year. Detroit, like the million examples where they can point to. I think we zig on this one, Sean. I think we go back to good old fashioned motivational handicapping.
Sometimes you're too deep. You're too close to the. Yeah. I think at times you can be in too deep, Ryan. So when you're saying everyone, I haven't heard anyone mention that.
This is pregame. This is so I'm using my sampling is of the early morning VSiN and CBS pregame shows. So perhaps a little narrow with the VSiN audience, but maybe the other pregame show has a slightly bigger audience. I mean, they were discussing how that situation has been tough for the team that needed it. So, maybe my box is a little bit bigger than you imagine, Sean.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
Anyway, so that's my overarching thought is I think I'm zigging back to good old fashioned team needs it versus team doesn't need it.
Yeah. My take is I think either playing it or not playing it. You just have to look at the specific team's situation like that. Why are you laughing?
Oh, that's a great answer. It's a case by case basis.
Yeah, I'm saying blindly playing for or against the motivation, I think is a little crazy, because there are teams that are eliminated that are motivated, and then there are teams that are eliminated that aren't. Like, your New York Giants clearly want no part of professional football, but there are some teams that are eliminated that are getting up for the spots and do seem competitive and are trying to build some momentum going into the next season. There are some teams that aren't, though. And so I would rather just find the teams than necessarily look at
I think we're saying the same thing. I'm just, it doesn't necessarily mean you need it for the playoffs. It's more of are you up for this spot? Do you want to win versus teams that don't want to win?
The will to win. Shout out to Noah checking in. He's saying, as an NFL TMZer, I haven't heard any of the motivational angle discourse. Well, Noah was the one who brought us the biting kneecap trend, which was on a pretty good run. Did it hit last week? I'm blanking, Ryan.
Yes. I'm going with yes because it was.
Oh, it was the Bills.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. And they almost won. Pat's almost won outright. So maybe we continue the kneecap trend. Merry Christmas, of course, to Lane Gretzky, everyone in the chat. You guys are awesome. Appreciate it. Enough messing around, Ryan. I know you like chit chat, but the guys here are ready talking NFL picks. What do we got?
Real quick before that, apparently it's off-putting to see my face for some members of the chat. So just sorry guys. If it works better, I can maybe turn sideways. Maybe just get a still shot up.
What feedback are you responding to?
Oh, I just put it up on the screen. I don't know if you took it down. Benedict Dantle was clearly in some sort of conversation in the chat, but pointing out that my face is off-putting. Anyway,
no, he said the look where when we do remote shows and we're staring right at each other.
But he's really saying our faces are hard to look at. All right, let's.
He said he did say yours. He didn't have any feedback on my face yet.
That's fine. It's true. My face is hard to look at.
I didn't say that. I'm just clarifying Benedict Dantol's thoughts.
Okay, yeah. So the stenographer in the chat, make sure it says Ryan Kramer's face is off-putting to some members of the chat. Yeah, no, the chat did. Some are saying. All right, so just to get everyone on the same page, we have a wild schedule. Like you mentioned up top, the NFL said, "Hey, NBA, fuck off. We're gonna have some games on Christmas too." So we not only have games on Wednesday, we have games on Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So strap in, enjoy the holiday. I'm sure everyone's home from work. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. No, sorry, Wednesday morning. Yeah, I know I'm already off. Wednesday morning, Christmas morning, nice and early for us on the West Coast. Barely have to do much of anything before football starts. Normally I put the the burning log on the TV just because it comes with some nice Christmas background music. It's going to be really interesting this year when I casually just slide that over to football at like 9:45. The Chiefs and the Steelers, at least it's going to be on Netflix, so it will seem like we're going to do something holiday related. Chiefs now laying 3, -158 on the money line. Steelers +139. 44 is the total. Sean, boy, we have conflicting concepts here. Patrick Mahomes laying a short number versus Mike Tomlin catching a field goal or more. This could result in a singularity, thus resulting in the universe collapsing upon itself. Which side I'm very curious to see if you're just going to default to the Steelers here.
Yeah, this one is this one's pretty tough. I kept going back and forth saying, yeah, I always love Steelers as a dog, but then who are we to bet against the Chiefs? I'll be honest, Ryan, it felt so good having money on the Chiefs last Saturday because you're like, oh wait, there's some bullshit call. Oh wait, it's for me. Oh yeah, that's right, I'm on the Chiefs. And then there's so many times you're like, oh my god, look at Patrick Mahomes. He told us he had a high ankle sprain. Now he's running in for the first touchdown. That's bullshit. And then I'm like, oh wait, Sean, don't get mad. You're betting on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Chiefs here. One, the Steelers team, Joey Porter Jr. is out, and now with Hollywood Brown healthy, I do like Andy Reid's ability to draw up some stuff here. And this is this is like the Chiefs' final exam. They win this game, they clinch the number 1 seed, and then they can rest for 2.5 weeks. So I think you're going to get just an amazing, awesome effort from this Chiefs team. I hate going against Steelers at home as a dog. I hate going against Tomlin as a dog. Props wise, I do think Darnell Washington, Connor Hayward touchdown stuff, first touchdown stuff. That's always interesting because of the Chiefs being so bad against the tight end. But give me the Chiefs laying the number. I think you can even find some. If you are going to be betting this, I think you can find some 2.5s out there. But I'll still take it here as 3.
Yeah, and so the scenario for the Chiefs is basically this: if they win this game, they clinch the 1 seed.
Yep.
But they can win one of the next 2 games and clinch the 1 seed.
Yep.
And so you have a little bit of, do they really need it? Meanwhile, Pittsburgh, even though they lost the last game, still control their own destiny in their division race, and a win here puts them in a very nice position to close out the season and get it done. I would say that under normal circumstances, what I would point to, and this stood out to me this morning, Sean, as I was looking at diving into the DVOA, throwing it into the sheet, which you happy to look at if you're in the Patreon, but it was interesting to see the Kansas City defense. I think just in general, the narrative around the Chiefs, right? All season long, what has the narrative been? Well, the defense is carrying them. The offense has really struggled. Well, when I looked at that, it's kind of holds accurate if you look at the season long DVOA numbers. But if you look at the weighted numbers, something really interesting happens. They all of a sudden are a top 10 offense, number 9. So it's like, well, wait a second. Is this offense really rounding into shape? And their defense actually gets weighted down to number 19. And so this narrative about them being this defense that's going to give Russ all this trouble, Pickens, by the way, full practice. I just wonder if this is now turning into a team that is going back into a little bit more of an offensive team and has struggled in certain types of situations, specifically the kind of situations I think the Arthur Smith offense can handle. And the last thing I'll say is this is our bad. We missed this. The Steelers didn't need to win last week against the Ravens. I know it was the divisional game. I know there's a lot of angles there, It wasn't though. It wasn't that much of a must-win game. They can still win the division. They are still in a fine position. Obviously, they would have preferred to win that game, but I wonder what that truly. I wonder if that had any sort of impact in the Pickens situation instead of rushing him back, maybe holding him out for one more week. Because if he plays this week, it tells me he could have played on Sunday or Saturday. It's only been a couple days, and I wonder if there was a decision made there. So I'm actually going to take the Steelers.
I totally disagree with that take. Like the idea of Tomlin holding back for a chance to win the AFC North, I disagree with.
Okay. Then why didn't Pickens play? Or
because he wasn't ready,
not healthy. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I don't.
Couple days. I wonder. That seems interesting to me. And
he's not guaranteed to play on Wednesday. I mean, I think he probably plays, but I think if Pickens
and when we talked about this game, Sean, my point was more. We were talking about it. If the Steelers lose, they can't win the division, or they probably won't win the division, and that was not true. So
okay, yeah. I mean, my take was they were going to get up for that game. I thought they did because they had a chance to win the AFC North. I think they unloaded the tank, and I think Russell Wilson fumbled the ball and then threw a pick six, and that was the difference in the game, right?
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm just saying the idea of Pickens not being out there. I wonder if there was more thought put into that. Anyway,
yeah, I think I don't think they were playing it. I don't think they were saving him for Kansas City. Would be my take.
Okay.
So you're on the Steelers. So when your Christmas is ruined by Patrick Mahomes, they went to the booth and they said, yeah, his knee was down, and you're going to be really annoyed that you're fading the Chiefs, right? Just on record saying you're fading the Chiefs, even though they're 14-1 with outscoring 30 points. They pull these games out of their ass one way or the other. My bookie has promo code SGPN. It has 2.5. If you want the -115, you're saying you feel good fading the Chiefs.
Is the game in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Okay. Does Russ like the Lord more than Patrick Mahomes?
No.
Yes. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. That is an absolute lie. You know that to be a lie. Russ loves the Lord the most. Give me
Russ loves himself the most. Come on. Russ loves some Russ.
His Lord might be himself, but he loves the Lord the most. Saturday game number 2, the Baltimore Ravens, which Sean, shout out to those still left in Circus Survivor. Very, very, will be very sweaty. We would have sweat pretty hard on this one too. Ravens, Texans at home here. Again, love the we talked about the home road spots in these holiday games, and maybe it's not as good for the home team. We'll have to. I think we need a larger sample size on that. Texans catching 5.5, and they are plus 205 on the money line, minus 235 for the Ravens. 46.5 is the total. So I assume by the logic you laid out in the gas tank analogy, the Ravens maybe poured a little out too. And so to see them being the heavily bet side here, Houston, attractive dog for you?
Yeah, I do like Houston here, 5.5. Feel like it's a couple, like a 1.5 too high. I don't feel great fading this Ravens team. Obviously, they look pretty good. Lamar, has an outside shot maybe to win the MVP. Certainly, if he goes into Houston and balls out, he's got a good shot there. Obviously, losing Tank Dell for the Texans doesn't bode too well. But I think you can move the ball against this Ravens defense. The Steelers, I thought, did a decent job moving the ball against them. Texans defense has been up and down, but I like this as a bounce back spot for the Texans here. And yeah, I do think this is a letdown spot a little bit here for the Ravens. After a huge home win, now you got to go on the road and you're laying 5.5. I don't love CJ Stroud. He's been kind of hitting that sophomore slump. I don't know if you saw the press conference where he was talking about how, it's good for young boys and girls to see guys emotional. I did not like any of that stuff coming out of the press conference as far as like dog mentality. That being said, D'Amico Ryan's off a loss. D'Amico Ryan's at home. catching 5.5. It just feels too high. Like this is 28-24 type game, 28-27. I would just be surprised if the Texans really get worked here at home in a gotta have it game to some degree. I mean, certainly, I don't know what their exact, have they clinched the AFC South yet, Ryan?
They don't have anything to play for.
Yeah.
I mean, they do, obviously it's a good measuring stick game, but it's a short week. They're, coming off, you just mentioned how CJ Stroud is soft and he lost his BFF, and I'm sure he's had some mourning period to hang out with Tank Dell in the hot. I mean, are you sure they don't have anything to play for? Cause I don't think they've clinched the AFC South yet. Now I think it would take, cause the Colts are only 2 games back and they would probably need some help in the tiebreaker situation, but did the Colts not have an outside shot to win the AFC South? Well, I mean, they have an auto win this week. I guess to your point, it didn't cross. They play the Titans next week on the road, which could be a hilarious way to lose out in the division. I could have sworn the Colts were the Colts' only path is to a wild card. I thought, but perhaps I'm wrong. Yeah, Texans swept Colts, so they don't have exactly. Okay, so even if
so
they're
Texans
tied,
do have the division locked up.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, Texans clinched it already. Thank you, chat. Chat is a bunch of really awesome and great people, especially around the holiday time. Very giving with information. They have an outside shot at making. Which, man, they lost so many dumb games. They really could be a playoff team. They have an outside shot of chasing down the wild card. In fact, I think they have a better chance of stealing the Broncos spot than the Bengals, if I'm not.
Who are you talking about? The Ravens?
The Colts.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about the Colts in the playoff. Anyway, but yeah, no, in this spot, I think if the Steelers win, I think there is a little bit of kind of either way. The Ravens have to have it. Lamar's playing like he's actually trying to win the MVP, and I do question the complete motivation of this Houston team. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the donkey, take the team I think is going to be playing hard and needing it more. I think the Ravens need to win out to give themselves a shot to win the division. And so, yeah, I absolutely think the Ravens are going to go full throttle here. And Lamar's going to be extra special on the ground this week. I think ladders, touchdowns, whatever you want to play. All right. Again, instead of playing a third Christmas Day game at night, which would have been pretty fun, they stuck with the traditional Thursday schedule here, where we got the Seattle Seahawks, Chicago Bears, Seahawks catching all the action because the Bears look like ass. -3.5 on the road for the Seahawks, -187 on the money line. Bears +165. 43.5 is the total. I hate this game. I hate everything about this game. On one hand, I don't want to lay the points with the Seahawks on the road. This Seahawks team just continues to be this middling force that can handle bad teams and hang around with good teams. But I never want to lay 3.5 with them. But then they play this Bears team that what are they playing for? What is this Bears team doing? What are they excited about? What Caleb Williams?
They're fighting for interim head coach Thomas Brown, Ryan. They love his offense.
We know that's not true, Sean.
Yeah, no. I mean, to me, you got to take Seattle here just because this is a dead spot for the Bears. The Bears, in between 2 division games, if the Bears have a get up spot left for them, it's certainly going to be the Packers there to close out the season. I guess maybe they're at home, but Seattle also is one of those teams that's been better on the road than they have been at home, at least ATS. So I think this is actually, now again, you don't feel great laying 3.5 with Seattle on the road, but this Bears team just finds ways to lose. Seattle 4-1-1 ATS on the road. It's one of those weird things where they actually play worse at home. The home field doesn't really end up doing much for them, but I feel like it's still baked into the number. This Chicago team is just dead, man. They just don't have a pulse. Like, how can you bet on the Bears?
Did you watch Geno try to turn the ball over?
Yeah, and I also watched this Bears team in a division game against a rival just complete no show. So if they weren't going to show up against the Lions and make that a competitive game, why would they do it against Seattle?
By the way, those holding the Kirk Cousins most interception ticket still holding strong, number 1 in the league at 16. But Geno, which Geno should be in the lead after last week, he's on 15.
There's some drops.
And Baker's on 15, and amazingly, Jameis Winston tied for 3rd in the NFL in interception. Only playing 12 games.
Yeah, he only played he wasn't the opening day starter, and he got benched halfway through the season. It's really impressive.
There's a tier of guys: Jameis Winston, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. All have only played 11 or 12 games. All have 12 interceptions. So, man, yeah, give me Seattle. I hate this spot though. I hate this spot, and they're going to win the game by 3. Bears are going to backdoor it. It's going to be a classic Caleb game.
No, I don't know. The Bears seem pretty dead, especially that offensive line. Hey, have you guys signed up over at mybookie.ag? Use that promo code SGPN. Stuff your stocking with 100% deposit match. Up to $1,000. Terms and conditions do apply on the bonus there, so make sure you read the fine print. Mybookie.ag. Love the live casino, the in-game wagering, just so much action. Easy deposit with crypto, and even easier withdrawal. I mean, compared to other books, set a clock and a timer for when you hit request and when you get your money. Mybookie.ag, right up there with the best of them. Love the prop builder. Customer experience is second to none. Mybookie.ag. You always want a little extra action. You always want a book. Maybe you're traveling for the holidays. You want a book you can access everywhere. Mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN, 100% match up to $1,000.
All right, Sean. So we've gotten the weekday stuff out of the way. Friday, great day to go return those gifts or whatever. I guess people do online returns now. You don't have to schlep it down to the mall and deal with all these horrible people who hate their gift and want to return it. But the NFL did load us up with a beautiful 3-game
Just
Saturday
shout out
slate.
to Commissioner Goodell, just dominating everything.
Commissioner, we're getting reports over the wire that college football is attempting to roll out bowl games all day on Saturday. Commissioner simply asked, do those games mean anything? No. Okay. We'll roll out a classic 3-game banger. Triple header. First up, the Los Angeles Chargers, who are coming off Thursday night football. They're heading up to the Northeast, where it will be cold for any team, let alone a team from Southern California. And the Patriots are catching 4 plus 189 on the money line. 42 is the total. Early in the week, but the bet's very lopsided for the Chargers so far, Sean. I mean, you can't lay 4 points with Justin Herbert and the Chargers in New England under any circumstances, right?
This one is tough because the Chargers have extra rest. This Patriots team seems like kind of a dead spot. Obviously, it was a get up spot for them. Division game against the Bills, almost got it, unloaded the tank. You have a massive coaching disparity here in Harbaugh with extra time to prepare versus Gerard Mayo. As I'm saying this aloud, how can I take Gerard Mayo versus John Harbaugh, right? How? God. I know you want to be on the sharp side here and take the dog, but this Chargers
is that the
team,
sharp side?
You tell me. You're the square sharp analyst.
It didn't strike me as a square sharp game. Strikes me as a game that no one's going to play, if I'm being completely honest.
What are the Chargers? The Chargers still need to officially win and get in, right? But they can get in with some help from some of the other games.
Yeah. So officially, the Chargers have. Let's see here. They're in. They would need to lose out, basically. So,
but they haven't officially clinched, right?
No. This week they can technically clinch with a win or a Colts loss or Dolphins loss. Basically, the teams coming from behind.
On them, but they wouldn't know that because they're playing Saturday.
Yeah, and they also have the Raiders the following week, and you don't want to leave it to some weird game against Antonio Pierce.
No, or division game. Yeah, I mean,
you're
yeah,
right. That's a dumb take. Lay the points.
This to me is chart.
What? Sean, where's Dominic the Donkey on this thing?
He's in the top middle up there on the first page.
I'm on page 2. That's why.
Page 1. There we go.
All right, I'm with you. Let's go.
Yeah.
Also, just watching with Decker. We're bought in.
Yeah, you feel bad having money against the Chargers when Decker's in the office.
Yeah, totally. Although we won't be watching with him this week. All right, so we're both on the Chargers officially. Game number 2 on Saturday, which is at 1:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Again, just the perfect triple header here. We got a meaningful game for both teams as the Broncos head to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Bengals laying 3, -170 on the money line, +150 for Sean's Broncos. 50 is the total. Oh man, this is and shout out to Sean loves Bo Nix, very nice juvenile digital horse who's been crushing on the track this season. Slide into my DMs if you want to know more. So Sean, I assume you're on the Broncos here in a must-win spot, but are you really going to fade Joe Burrow at home in a must-win spot, days removed from a Christmas where he gifted his offensive line actual swords,
katana blades? Yes. Yeah, give me the Broncos and the points. Why not? Everyone's going to be on the Bengals. Everyone wants to see the Bengals in the playoffs. That would be my only concern, is maybe the NFL called the old the ref hotline and said, hey, you terrorists, let's make sure the Broncos don't get any of those friendly calls. But I'll say this. Broncos offense does really well in games where Bo Nix can scramble, and the Bengals are the worst in the NFL allowing quarterback rushing yards. He's going to have an open pocket. He's going to be able to run around. The Bengals defense you can attack if you're even remotely competent. So and I don't know, man. I think this is a little this is a good spot for the Broncos. Extra time to prepare. Sean Payton, who I do think mostly is a good coach. I didn't realize that he had the option of saying no to them switching that Chargers Broncos game to Thursday night, but he agreed to it, which is kind of crazy in hindsight. I don't know why you would agree to play an extra Thursday night game on the road if you didn't have to, but such as Sean Payton. I think the Broncos hang around here. I think they make this a bit of a game. So yeah, give me the Broncos and the points.
How could that be possible? The expectation would be every team would just say no. Why would they offer that concession?
So there's a rule that says no team has to play 2 Thursday night road games. And if you recall, they played an earlier road game against the Saints. So in order to make this happen for this Christmas Day, which I don't know how they don't figure this out ahead of time. But like the finagling for the Wednesday, Saturday, Christmas Day thing involved flexing this Broncos Chargers to Thursday night. And they went to Sean Payton. They're like, we assume you would say no, but just in case, would you be interested? And, football guys like, yeah, we'll play him anywhere. We don't care.
So either he didn't want to be caught on tape saying no to a game, or does he maybe know that his team isn't win the Super Bowl material right now? And he also knows that maybe the draft class is 15 to 20 premier prospects and doesn't want to make the playoffs just to get run out of the building, and doesn't mind.
No, I don't
sabotaging his own team with a set. Why would you take a second road Thursday night game in division? That just seems crazy.
Yeah,
that seems really dumb for a smart guy. He seems like a smart guy.
No, I usually have him graded as a good head coach, and I was surprised when I learned that. Joe Burrow, Bengals 2-5 ATS at home. So I think this is Everyone is like, yeah, Bengals are going to go on the road. They're going to win it all. They're going to sneak into the playoffs. This is the dream crusher spot for them. A hungry Broncos team coming with extra rest, a lot of time to prepare. I like this spot for the Broncos.
I kind of think in some ways, the more hilarious outcome is the Bengals win this game only to lose out to the Broncos because the Chiefs lay down in week 18 because they don't need the game potentially like that. But yeah, I can't fade Burrow in this spot. I do appreciate the fact that I'm a little worried that the Bengals defense will not have any answers for Sean Payton's offense and adjustments.
Yes.
But I'm just going to bet on Joe Burrow versus it's a 3-point spread. I'm going to take Burrow over Bo Nix. Sorry again.
Joe in the chat saying, I mean, for Ryan, for someone who said you wanted to zag this week, Denver is the ultimate zag opportunity. Joe in the chat saying he cannot take Denver on the road. Well, Joe, then you would be 2-6 ATS because taking Denver on the road would make you 6-2 ATS. So just saying, Denver on the road, not the auto fade that Joe would have you believe.
This is true. And this is a game where both teams need it for the record. That's the type of motivation I was. So I graded this as both teams heavily motivated. Okay. And with both teams heavily motivated, I'm taking heavily motivated Joe Burrow over heavily motivated Bo Nix.
You've seen Bo Nix. He's awesome.
Have you seen Joe Burrow? Come on. He's got a smoking hot assistant, Sean. This guy doesn't fuck around. He buys his linemen
maybe he
swords.
does.
That's true. No, he has a hot assistant. He definitely fucks around in some areas. All right, game number 3 on Saturday. Nice. Oop, not that one. Nice little nightcap here as the Los Angeles Rams are hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Rams -6. Wow. -250 on the money line, +216 for the Cards. 48 is the total. As you can see, 77% of the bets on the Rams. I think that has most of to do with why the number has grown as big as it has. Arizona is in a back-to-back road spot here. This is the relatively short trip here. Sean and I have done it before. Not much on the body. Won't need to do the Russ style lunges in the aisle. I'm very curious to see where you land here. I came into it with a fuck the Cardinals mentality, and then I realized that this is the kind of game where you circle where a lot of people might think that the Cardinals aren't going to be motivated and the Rams are going to be heavily motivated because of the playoff situation, but this just strikes me as the kind of game that you got to shake up a little bit. Cards. This is the Kyler backdoor number. Like this is the exact type of scenario that we used to love taking Kyler, right? In that situation where you can lose a game by 4 or 5 points, no problem. Throw in some garbage shit in the second half. And oh, by the way, my heart's still with them a little bit, so I'll probably be rooting for them to win this game regardless. Give me the Cards.
Well, walk people through the playoff scenarios for this one, Ryan.
Well, pretty plainly put, the Rams are in the catbird seat. They win and Seattle loses and they're in. Basic. If the Cardinals win, then it gets a lot more jumbled because you have the Seahawks and the Rams play next week. So that would essentially be for the division, I believe. I'm like 99% sure the Cardinals can't win the division anymore and are actually eliminated, which is why some people might think that they're not up for this divisional game.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll get up for this game. I just don't know if they're any good. And you want to talk about revenge factor. Cardinals embarrassed the Rams 41-10, if you recall, earlier in the year. Rams' worst loss by a mile. And so now the tables have turned. This Rams team playing pretty well. I highlighted why I like the Rams against the Jets. I like that Rams defensive line, Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, good at getting pressure there and locking them down, good at creating turnovers. And really that's been the backbreaker for this Cardinals team is the turnover issues with Kyler, just not being smart with the football. Jonathan Gannon with a very defeated press conference. That was not a that's not a team I'm looking to back right now. I agree the number should probably be 4.5. You're paying a tax here for the motivation angle, but I think you factor in the embarrassment that the Cardinals put it on. Biggest win for the Cardinals all season, biggest loss for the Rams. I think you factor that in to the handicap. You got to go Rams here. I could see if like the tables were reversed, but yeah, I like Rams here a lot.
So double motivation spot, you're saying, versus a team that's just been eliminated.
So yeah, like if the Cardinals got destroyed by 30 points the first time they played, and then they were in the situation where no one thinks they would get up for it, and then they would, okay, maybe, and the line would probably even be inflated more if that was the case. But last time they played, they just got destroyed by the Cardinals, and I refuse to think Sean McVay is not going to have some good adjustments against this Jonathan Gannon defense. Now, if you recall, that was like a weird situation spot, but still, like the 49 or the Cardinals embarrassed the Rams in a situation where they didn't have to. So I like the Rams a lot here in a bounce back spot.
So yeah, this number is going to get big. I think if you like the Rams, this number, because all right, so Seattle and Chicago play Thursday. So if Seattle wins, then the Rams need to win I think either way. Because if Seattle loses, the Rams can clinch on Saturday. And so does that change the opinion? And would that just stretch the number out more? Because everyone will be seeing that Rams can clinch. Does that push the number to 7?
I don't know. I don't know how much it changes it. I think this number is factoring in.
Like if you like the Cardinals, are you waiting and hoping that happens? I guess is my question. Because I want to take the Cardinals, thinking that everyone will know about this double motivation angle that you're talking about. As it's very, making the playoffs and getting revenge is a very clear path to motivation.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals being eliminated, it's easy to draw the conclusion they won't be up for the game. So yeah, give me the Cardinals. I'm just trying to decide if it's now or later.
I think the Cardinals will get up for the game. I just don't think they're very good.
And
they're on a short
anytime
week.
Touchdown.
This is the week. James Conner also banged up. We'll see if he ends up going. And even Trey Benson ended up missing as well. So very thin at the running back position.
Yeah. This is my zig game.
All right, this is your zig game?
This is my
picking the
game.
Cardinals like you always pick.
Yeah, but I'm going against the motive. This is where I'm like, no, the motivation's wrong. All right, let's head over to Sunday, where we have Sean. I know you'll be without God's eye, or you will not be without God's eye. I will be without God's eye. Sunday, 6 games in the early window. They really very strange allotment of games this week. 6 not bad though in the early window. First game, Colts, Giants. Colts laying 8 here on the road with Anthony Richardson. 89% of the bets coming in on Anthony Richardson on the road. Minus 400 on the money line. 40.5 is the total. Is there really much to talk about here in this game?
Well, I think the biggest thing people want to know about this game is what will the plane flying the banner over the stadium say this time? Merry Christmas.
What would you have it say, Sean?
I would just say take the Colts -8. No one on this team cares.
I would go. Has John Mara been to Epstein Island? ?
Oh man,
get that narrative.
No, that's one of those things. Because if someone accuses you of going to Epstein Island, you're really in a tough spot. Because if you get really mad and go, "What are you talking about? I'd never go to Epstein Island," people are just like, yeah, that's what you would say if you went to Epstein Island. And then if someone accuses you of going to Epstein Island and you don't respond to that, it's like, well, why do you think he's never said anything about the Epstein Island accusations? You really can't win. We have inside sources that say John Mara has been to Epstein Island, so maybe that will help in the removal of that's your Ryan. You guys are up there. Now it'll sound like a troll, but it's a serious question. Have the Giants ownership issues reached Daniel Snyder level incompetence? Not like okay.
But I would say there's definitely and again, some of that incompetence was sorted out by Joe Shane when he was allowed to fire members of John Mara's family, which positive, but apparently the rot is still there, and maybe it's the owner himself and his alleged trips to Epstein Island.
To me, if you're bad for decade plus, it's usually because of the owner. So. Which is a tough place to get out of because these owners hang on to these teams forever. They keep going up in value. They have no interest in selling the team. Why would they?
Especially in New York? Like what?
Yeah, it's not. It would be a bad money move to sell the team. What motivation does he have to sell? He'll just give it to his kids, who are probably worse versions of him as owners and operators of the franchise. So it's a great situation.
It's non-linear, right? You have the original owner, right? The original guy who creates the family name, Wellington Mara. He does all the hard work. He's the guy with the big reputation. He's the guy with the name on the football, the Duke. And then it's the kids are always a little bit fucked up. And then you have the grandkids. Forget about it. That's it. That's when the empires crumble, right? Like study any big empire. Eventually, the kid enough inbreeding, and you end up with some retards running shit. All right.
That being said, you got to take the Colts here, even though it's 8. Even though you're laying 8 points at the road with the Giants, just it's crazy. I mean, this team is completely laid down, no fight whatsoever, and Colts are at least playing hard as we saw against the Titans.
They let the Titans with a backup quarterback run down 20 plus points to make you sweat a little bit last week. You're not at all worried, Sean, about a similar outcome here.
No, I would say Mason Rudolph noticeably better than Drew Lock, who I don't even know.
Do you know that Drew Lock's playing this week?
Did they announce a starter? Have they even bothered announcing the starter, Ryan?
I might see. I'd give Tim Boyle a shot. He is, he went to UConn. Might have some friends and family, and he's kind of like Tommy DeVito. You can't lay 8 on the road with Anthony Richardson.
Watch me.
All right. You know what? I'll also lay the points with Anthony Richardson.
Oh, there you go. Finally,
what I would put on the plane if I was I don't mean to copy OJ Simpson here, but if I was the one paying for the plane, I would certainly I would go very simple. Sell the team. That captures headlines right there. Don't make it a long soliloquy. It gets too long. It's a little hard to read. Just 3 words: sell the team, or sell the team, John. Make it real personal.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Random Meander says, do the Colts cover 8 and AR-15 makes 8 completions? So
that's a great idea. Same game parlay, right?
Yeah. If you're playing around with the mybookie.ag promo code SUPN prop builder, and I suggest you do, I think you might have some fun in taking an alt under in AR-15 completions and an alt spread on the Colts.
I am
it's like Colts lane like 17.5. AR-15 under 10 completions.
I'm sure they won't have they don't even have the numbers up yet. But I love this is very diabolical. I think you also could layer in a alt under.
Yeah, because the Giants aren't going to score.
All right. Anything else to say on that game? Will you be watching that game at all?
We'll see, Ryan. I'm going to be on a cruise, and I got to figure out the sports bar, the viewing setup. So yeah, we'll see if I'll be locked in on this one.
Just I'm sure you can get God's Eye installed on the cruise ship.
No, I mean, yeah, we do have mobile God's eye, so I could be working off a laptop, could be hanging out at a sports bar in Ensenada. So stay tuned.
A lot of expats down there. I'm sure football will be on.
Yeah.
Game number 2 in the early window. Another just absolute thriller. This would have been the Derek Carr Bowl, but I don't think he's going to attend. Although I don't think he technically got put on the IR. Raiders, Saints, another game not many people need to watch. Saints somehow laying 1.5 here at home after getting thumped in the frozen tundra. -120 on the money line. Raiders +100. 38.5 is the total. Obviously the Saints are on a little bit of short rest here and just thawing out after getting absolutely thumped up there. Raiders already screwed up their draft pick once. Would they dare screw it up for a second time and slide all the way down to the bottom of the top 10?
This is the toughest game to handicap. I mean, cue the Spider-Man meme of like Antonio Pierce pointing at Darren Rizzi pointing at Antonio Pierce. Like, aren't these the same guys? Like, just some rah guys who take massive shits but don't really know how to coach. But you wouldn't want to meet them in a dark alley and have your takes of their coaching ability played in front of them.
I mean, like it does see. Is either one of these guys back next year?
No.
Definitely not Rizzy, but is Pierce back?
Well, again, we'll see how much.
He's very cheap.
How much?
I know
Mark
they're still
Davis
paying
is,
like 4 coaches.
Yeah, Mark Davis has lost a lot at the airport slot machine, so he's already selling a piece to Tom Brady. I could, if any coach that gets brought back that has no business being brought back, I think it would be Antonio Pierce, strictly for the money, right? Like them not wanting, and Zach Taylor probably fits in that category too, but at least you could make a case for Zach Taylor. Probably better than Antonio Pierce, especially if they make the playoffs, then they have to bring him back. I think
if you want to play the conspiracy theory, like the Coach Prime and his kids coming to Las Vegas is certainly an interesting angle to play. And since I put this number on the sheet, Sean, the Saints have flipped to being the dog here.
Okay.
So I think we pick it at the Circa has +1 right now. So we'll fair. We'll pick it at Saints +1. And
Darius in the chat saying mortal teaser lock. Darius, for the love of God, do not tease this game.
No,
you do not need to tease this game. You don't need to put the Saints in a teaser. Man, this is tough because you're also fading the Raiders off of a win, right? Like, isn't that? And Ryan, now that the Saints are a dog, are they not a close your eyes special?
No, they were 14.5 point.
Oh, you're right.
Dogs,
so yeah, not quite right 19, on the edge.
Right on the edge of being a close your eyes special. But that idea, I mean, we did watch them in the absolute worst case scenario, bad weather on the road against a team that was heavily motivated, and Spencer Rattler just didn't have it. Now they're coming back home against a much softer opponent who just won a game.
The counter is of these two teams, the only one you've seen do anything like good that you could consistently rely on is Aiden O'Connell to Brock Bowers. Amir Abdullah is running very hard. Like he's passing the eye test. I mean, that was a fun sweat a couple of weeks ago. Him 2 touchdowns. They seem to want him to pound the rock, and but then you have the Raiders off a win. Who wants to be betting the Raiders off a win as a road favorite? I'll take this. I'll take the Saints here catching the point, but don't bet.
Doesn't it make more sense that the Raiders would continue to fuck their shit up for next year? That feels more on brand.
It does, but also them off a win. I'll take the Saints as a home dog. Play the sharp sound effect, Ryan. That's sharp.
That was impressively fast.
Dick Puncher saying, "Is there any chance Kamara comes back?" I'm pretty sure he's cooked for the year.
I don't know. I don't think he was IR'd, was he? Oh wow!
I'll double check.
Hold on. Okay, this is from 8 minutes ago. Beat reporter at or Mike Triplett Rizzy said both Carr and Kamara are trying to come back and play.
Wow.
Undecided for week 17. Oh, we got to take the Saints now.
Well, even if they're trying, that at least shows the something's going on in the locker room.
Kamara was in his office today, letting him know he wants to play.
Oh, well then come on.
Oh, whoa.
Saints are lock potential now.
Whoa. Get that in
told
there. Saints +1.
My bad. I thought they said the groin might hang him up for the year, but to your point, yeah, he's not on IR, so he's got a shot. Yeah, let's go Saints.
Oh, if he's in the office saying, "Put me in, coach."
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This guy covers the Saints for New Orleans football, whatever that is. So seems official. He's in the building, boots on the ground. Good enough for me. Game number 3 in the early window. Or as we go through this list, boy, a lot of messy games here. The first half parlay is going to be out of control. And programming note, pregame show TBD. We'll see. Maybe we'll surprise you. Jags, Titans, a classic AFC South matchup here. Jags laying 1.5, -120 on the money line, +102 for the Titans. 41 is the total. Titans on a second road spot here. They got They started fast as they often do, and they got frisky. Some are saying Brian Callahan not coaching material. It's hard to argue with that, looking the way this team has not really changed over the course of the season. But when you look at how much of their bad play is tied directly to the quarterback making disastrous decisions, you wonder maybe we run it back with a few of those not happening, and they win a couple of those early games. Does something change with the makeup of this team? I don't know, Sean. You've been a Mac Jones honk, so I assume you're going to continue to fade our Titans and take Mac Jones.
Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, no, the Jags are still playing hard. They're not very good, but neither is Mason Rudolph. He's picking up where Will Levis left off. 3 interceptions. And this Titans team is hilarious. So I mentioned it these past couple of weeks. They will get the first touchdown. The Titans always do that. They're usually up in the first quarter, but they always score first. So you can always get a good live number on the Jags here, because Titans will score first and then Jags will pull out the victory. So yeah, I'm definitely taking the Jags.
Where do you put, would you want Mac Jones on the Eagles as a backup quarterback?
Yeah, I think he's like solid number 2. I mean, if you were having me to break down Kenny Pickett versus Mac Jones, I think they're kind of similar. I guess it's also tough to say because I think this version of Mac Jones he's playing with reckless abandon. Like there's probably a version where if he was actually the backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, they might have a more conservative game plan for him. And I don't know if that would be good or bad for Mac. Still not super accurate, but he does still seem to be a willing runner, which is fun in these type of games. So yeah, I don't know. Do you have a huge difference between Mac Jones and Kenny Pickett?
Oh,
I mean, I'll give the slight nod to Kenny Pickett.
Oh no, I don't think Kenny Pickett's very good. I think Mac Jones gives you a little bit more juice than Kenny. So
Pickett you think Mac Jones is definitely better than Kenny Pickett?
Sean, we're putting out the off season. We're doing a backup quarterback power rankings episode right now.
Well, I mean, I could be talked into Mac Jones being better than Kenny Pickett. I don't have a strong opinion. I would go Kenny Pickett, but I could see the case for Mac Jones.
Part of the component of a great backup quarterback is that you do have some like J.R. Smith irrational confidence, and I think Mac Jones kind of has that.
I think, now you were asking me. I guess I was framing in the context of the Eagles, where I think you don't want the J.R. Smith stuff from your backup quarterback because you have Saquon Barkley, because you have really good receivers. You want a guy that's just like main goal is going to be not turn it over. Like if Kenny Pickett doesn't throw that horrible interception on the Eagles side of the ball, they probably win that game. Now, I guess maybe you lose a little bit of the aggressiveness, but I think if you have good weapons around him, play clean, don't turn the ball over, maybe more valuable than a guy who's willing to take some shots.
And specifically, I guess if I was answering the question, like the problem with the Eagles is they just need to accept the fact that their backup should operate an offense like Jalen Hurts. Like that to me would be the right answer. And I don't think Kenny Pickett's that guy either. But I'm with you in this spot. I think the also flow chart would tell you the only game the Titans have beaten the Jags over the last 3 years was that game last season to eliminate the Jags from playoff contention. So Jags own the Titans organizationally. And for those not in the live stream or not watching, I think it's important to quick pause of the show and shout out to Random Meander, who says it's time for a dab. 11:40 a.m. here on the West Coast. So if you're listening to the podcast, assuming you're not driving, maybe hit pause if you need to. If not, if you're multitasker, get it going. Moving along.
Holiday dab.
Well, I mean, we are all home from work, so hopefully, and again, like be careful with the ladder activities and the dabbing. You don't want to be at elevation when dabbing. You don't want to have a big fall. Game 4, another one that some may say not the best NFL product. The New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers, they head to Buffalo for a game I can't imagine our hero really wants anything to do with. It's going to be cold. They're going to have to play the Bills, go against Josh Allen, who's obviously a younger, more strapping hero in the story. Bills laying 9.5. Sean, and we just faded the Bills, who are laying a big number. -460 on the money line, +384 for the Jets. 46.5 is the total. I don't know what to think about this because it's impossible to play the Jets. And I know I would say limited time to review everything and whip around to this week, but I think I would assume some people will probably take some positives out of the Jets' performance versus the Rams because they weren't horrible in the fucking box
Did
score,
win the yards
the
for play mark, Ryan.
Yeah, we got to. That's the other thing we got to start. Like, all right, they won the yard. Watch the game. They didn't have a fucking. They had a chance for a little bit, and then they didn't have a fucking chance.
No, but it was just classic Jetsian shit. Rams D line was putting it on them. They went for some fourth downs where part of me is like, hey, I like going for it on 4th and 1 on your own 30 when you're eliminated from the playoffs. But also, like, that's probably why you don't bet on this Jets team, because Ulbrich is not a good head coach. Aaron Rodgers continues to be poison in the locker room, even when they have now the prop to probably play is, whatever Jets running back receiving yards, because I do think that is a little bit of a weakness to the Bills. Now, have we gotten any info on the Josh Allen hand stuff? Is he 100%?
He can't beat off with either hand. Apparently, he's got injuries to both hands. I mean, again, for anyone who's had a injury to your dominant hand, it does get dicey. Certain activities, a couple you won't think about off the top of your head. One, wiping your ass gets very dicey. So maybe practice before you have the situation.
Low key, that's the worst if you've ever broken your arm or wrist.
Yeah,
and it's your dominant hand. To wipe all-handed, never even thought of it. It's a nightmare. Also,
surprisingly hard brushing your teeth with the wrong hand. Although electric toothbrushes have come a long way. I think this is interesting because if the Chiefs win, the Bills have nothing to play for. Right?
That's the other thing. Yeah, would they sit their starters here?
If the Chiefs lose, they have everything to play for.
No, but Chiefs are favored to win. Let's say they win. Do the Bills sit their starters? I mean, this is 2 weeks out, but if you're not going to get a bye week and your playoff spot is locked up, what's the point?
All right, so here's the way we play it. You play Chiefs money line with Jets money line, right?
It's an interesting parlay.
Well, what you're saying is true. Chiefs win. Bills have nothing to play for. They dial it all the way back. Jets win the game because it doesn't matter, and that's a classic Aaron Rodgers win.
Yeah, but I could also see the Jets still not winning with going up against Mitch Trubisky in Buffalo. But certainly you would be getting a good price at the very least. Because
And then on the flip side, you also then would want to parlay. Maybe you do an open parlay with the Steelers, planning to put the Bills in there, knowing that if the Steelers, well, I guess the number would get potentially bigger. So yeah, I don't know how you play that then. I think any way you slice it, you kind of can't play this game unless you like the Jets. You can't. There's no upside to playing the Bills right now, and there's only downside if you like the Jets because that could move a lot actually. So maybe we take the Jets here, Sean.
No, yeah, these games are. This is why it's interesting to play these like late game weeks. So as we talk this out, I'll take the Jets 9.5, even though I don't feel great about it. I think to your point, like you could end up with an awesome number here. Even if KC does lose, there's certainly a version where the Jets keep this kind of close. The Bills are classic playing with their food, and their defense, I think, has a lot of issues. So this could get interesting. So the more we think this out, the more I am going to take the Jets in the 9.5, even though I don't like the Jets.
Yeah. So I think that if this goes bad, it will be it like if the number moves against us, it gets to like, okay, we find out the Bills need the game because the Chiefs have won because the Steelers have won. What does it get to 10? But then Josh Allen is banged up. We know he's banged up. The best case scenario there is that he plays banged up, and maybe this is a great play by us. This is how you read the marketplace, Sean.
No, but there's Ryan. Honestly, like and then I don't know off the top of my head, would they lock up the 2 seed?
So let's see. Yeah, they are locked into the 2 seed already, I believe.
Okay.
Because a tie, I believe they overtake both tie scenarios, and they would have to lose out.
Well, so I mean, but also because the Steelers are 10-5, so if the Chiefs lose, then the Bills would be playing regardless to get that 1 seed. But if the Steelers lose, that knocks them down to 6 wins. So then no team in the NFC. Or no, I guess maybe could the Ravens tie them at 12-5?
Yes, they could.
Do they have the tiebreaker over them?
I'm double checking the Ravens tiebreaker. I don't think they do. I think the Bills have it because the Bills are 8-2 in the conference. The Ravens are 6-4. So yeah, they would have to lose those 2. They would have to lose to the Patriots as well in the last week of the season. So possible.
All right. But I don't know.
Then it's still a tie. Hold on. Then it's still a tie. And the Ravens would win strength of the Ravens would eventually win the tiebreaker actually.
All right, either way, Jets 9.5. Let's go.
Yeah no, we talked it out. That was good. Bills win by a field goal. Let's see, game number 5 in the early window. Another this one does have some playoff implications, all because the stupid Tampa Bay Buccaneers screwed up last week. Now they're laying 8 points against the Panthers, minus 410 on the money line, plus 342 for the Panthers. 49.5 is the total. Panthers, another nice win at home against my Cardinals. Very heartbreaking to see that lay down effort from Kyler. You fucking bitch. It was too cold in Carolina. You little. Sorry, I forgot I took him this week. I don't know, Sean. This just strikes me as a very giant number, and this Bucs team is clearly flawed. I know they're going to win this game. But I don't know if I want to lay it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the reason to take the Bucs is, hey, they need it. The short week, they need it. Panthers coming off a win. Usually, you would think you would want to fade them, but they haven't been horrible off a win. They beat the Saints, then they beat the Giants, so they won 2 games in a row, and then played the Chiefs tough. They lost to the Bucs in OT. They seem to be able to hang with this Bucks team. I just don't know if you can lay 8 with the Bucks. Period. I've laid big numbers with them before, and I don't know, man. I'm trying to put my finger on why this defense shows up sometimes and why they don't. I thought it was Antoine Winfield. It didn't seem to be the case because their defense played pretty good against the Chargers. They lit up the Chargers, and then you lose outright to the Cowboys, in part because of the defense, some weird turnovers. I could see the Bucks winning this game, but 8 seems like a lot for a Panthers team that's just tough to close out. Chuba Hubbard is running the ball really well.
Yeah, but I do think the Bucks are going to be difficult to run against. That's okay. Actually my angle here. And I as I think about it, I don't think I mind this running game. I mean, Bucky Irving, they've been quite good leaning on opponents when up. I wonder if they can't get up on this game a little bit. And then,
you know what, now that we're talking it out a little bit, play the Benedict music. I am going to go Tampa Bay, laying the 8.
Nope, that's not it.
No.
That's not it.
Are you just hitting all the buttons, Ryan?
Just hitting buttons. I'm going to move on.
Tampa Bay, I forgot how good they are ATS after a loss. So 5-1 after a loss. They are a good team to take after a loss. And as Easy reminds us in the chat, don't fade a pissed off Baker. And Easy pointing out, I've Benedicted 2 games in a row. Well, it's a lot of it is short prep time and just kind of hashing things out instead of having everything locked in before we start. But
Sean, we're having a long form conversation helping you handicap the NFL games for week 17.
No, and some of it is it's a dialogue with the chat as well. Appreciate always the chat checking in, but yeah, and then the Mike Evans numbers against Carolina are crazy. 8 for 118 in the touchdown, one of his better games this season. They're going to continue to feed Mike Evans. So I don't know if we do a pregame show, Dick Puncher would have to call in for me to lock up the Mike Evans anytime touchdown. Still probably like it in this situation, but yeah, give me the Bucks laying the 8.
Yeah. And you know what, Sean, now that we've talked about it, I love it in a teaser.
Oh, there you go.
Love it in a teaser. Yeah. Maybe that's the move. Maybe we just slide into Discord for a Discord only pregame this weekend, audio only. All right. Game number 6. This one was flexed into there was a double flex this week because Atlanta, Washington also was originally an early game. So that's why the rotation is messed up. But the later of the 2 flexes happened when they moved the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings into the later window where there's only 2 games, and they moved the Eagles and the Cowboys into the morning window, 10 a.m. Game 6 in the early window, 10 a.m. on the West Coast. 9 points favored for the Eagles, minus 415 on the money line, 335 for the Cowgirls, 43 is the total. Obviously there's a lot to discuss with the Eagles. What's the deal with Jalen Hurts? We're not going to know anything as we talk Tuesday, December 24th at 11:55 a.m. on the West Coast. But this number tells me he's playing, right?
Yeah, I mean, which is interesting because usually the default is that these guys miss one game, right? Like, isn't that the default of like, hey, you get knocked out with a concussion, you're going to miss at least one game, right? I mean,
week 1 in the NFL, that's the case. Now, week 17 in the NFL, maybe they're kicking out the playoff concussion protocol, which is there is no concussion protocol anymore.
And Jalen Hurts did clear himself of his own concussion protocol on the sideline. I don't know if you, I tweeted out. I tweeted out when your friends ask you if you're okay to drive, and he's just kind of like the thumbs up, and he's obviously the dude got his bell rung. Jalen Hurts is a dog. I know he's going to do everything he can to play, as witnessed from him putting his helmet on, just getting the thumbs up right in the ref's face. He's like, I'm good, let me play. They didn't. Still should have got the win with Kenny Pickett there, but this Eagles team off a loss is a smash spot as always. The Eagles could win the NFC East. I think they're very hungry for that Division East title. Kind of let things get a little sideways last week. I think the defense is still very good. Kind of unfortunate the way things broke the second half, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ryan, you're the spread expert at -9. Are they splitting the difference here a little bit with like some of this to me is shading way closer to Jalen Hurts being the starter, because if Kenny Pickett is named the starter, what do you think this number is? 6.5, 6?
I can tell you the number. Oh, so the opener in May was -2 for Philly. Obviously that was with Dak and not Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
But the look ahead last week was -11.5. And so,
so they're splitting the difference probably, right?
It's interesting because I would tend to think that Jalen Hurts probably worth more than splitting the difference there, but crossing, like I would imagine if Kenny Pickett's starting, this can't be higher than like 4.5. I think my joke would have been like, hey, they're gonna, passing attack's gonna get a little bit of a bump now that they have a quarterback willing to throw the ball down the field, throw the ball over the middle of the field. And you saw, like, not satire, you did see a little bit of that. There were some throws that he made that I don't think Jalen Hurts generally looks to make. That being said, I think Jalen Hurts and the way that if you watched the game last week, it was very clear the Eagles were going to win that game in a rout.
Yes.
And obviously they lost the game. And so how many points is Kenny Pickett really worth? Because they went from an advantageous situation with Kenny Pickett, and granted, yes, if Devontae Smith doesn't drop that ball, they win the game probably. But they certainly gave a lot of points to Jaden Daniels in an offense that wasn't looking too hot the week before. So and the defense had been looking. I just think Kenny Pickett's not very good. I think Kenny Pickett's worth a lot more than that 4 or 5 points. I would move it a lot further. This to me tells this 100% tells me that Jalen Hurts is playing. There's no way. Yeah, sure. Maybe it gets to 10.5 or goes back to 11.5, whatever it was. I don't see that at all. I think the Cowboys got upgraded with their win, and this is more just saying, hey, Jalen Hurts is playing. So if you have any inkling that Jalen Hurts isn't playing, we would take the Cowboys. Now, to your point, he cleared himself. I think the playoffs and the NFL, they don't give a shit about the concussions this time of year. I think the narrative, you could throw the conspiracy theory of like, oh, maybe they want to have the NFC East go one more game. I don't think so. I don't think they give a shit about that. I think this is all about Eagles in a bounce back spot against the Cowboys, who are feeling themselves a little bit after they won at home. So lay the points.
Yeah, I think if Kenny Pickett is named the starter, this will be like 6 points.
That's crazy. That's just too big to me. But yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm telling you what I think the number would be. In that 4.5 to 6 range. No way does it get down to 4. I'd be shocked.
I mean, Cooper Rush might be better than Kenny Pickett. So I know the rest of the team's playing too, but
yeah. And the Eagles are at home. Much better team. I think the Eagles get it done. Give me the Eagles laying the 9. If Kenny Pickett starts, so be it. This is the Eagles off a loss. That's all you need to know. They're going to get up for this game. Dallas at home. Lock it up. Dallas.
What are your thoughts about the reports that McCarthy might not get fired?
That's great. And I saw Dick Puncher saying, I know Chris Collinsworth, God bless him, was really advocating for Mike McCarthy's job there.
Very strange.
And Dick Puncher said, what do you think about if the Eagles lose here? If that means extending Mike McCarthy? No, you can't mess around with this game because the division is on the line. Need to get this win, lock up the 2 seed, lock up the division so that we can rest our starters the following week against the Giants. But yeah, I mean, I hope Mike McCarthy is back. That would be a dream scenario. These and I'm still skeptical of Dan Quinn. I know they're having a good year and they did beat us, but I'm still a little skeptical of Dan Quinn and that Washington offense. And I would love to see the Redskins in the playoffs. So knock on wood that happens, that we lock up the 2 seed. But yeah, I think you're going to get a very motivated Eagles team. And just off a loss, this team has been great all year. So smash it. Kramer, what are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm not taking the Cowboys. This is a real, I will say this is a real rock hard place situation. I was thinking
you
about
take Kenny Pickett laying 9 points.
I was considering offering up a 3-way bet with a draw. But that's not an ATS pick. So give me the Eagles, lay the points. And you know what? If there was a money line parlay this week, this would be it.
Really? The Eagles. After you jinxed them with your money line parlay last,
I put him right back in there. Punishment. I had nothing.
Hey.
I did enjoy that. How Sean tried to immediately, as the Eagles game was going south, immediately accountability started shifting from him and the Wheeze to Ryan and his money line parlay.
Well, I mean, come on, everyone in the chat. We all knew Ryan jinxed the Eagles with his money line parlay, so nothing else to say.
Be careful talking to the chat. There's 125 of them, I think, or maybe 130 of them, and only 46 likes. So be careful.
No, can't trust
some enemies in the crowd.
Hey, of course, if you haven't already, sign up over at underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN. Get you 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Coming off a nice cash from Monday Night Football with the Rattler rushing yards and the old Tucker Kraft. Thanks to Dick Puncher for that play. Kramer, what do you like this week?
Oh man, I was burning the night oil, and there were no numbers up this morning. Has that changed, Sean?
Well,
if not,
of course
we can talk about some concepts we like.
Yeah, well, there's 2 games on Christmas. I know you don't celebrate the holidays, but maybe you would be willing to give out an underdog
We're
entry.
good. Yeah, they opened everything. We're good.
Yeah, I don't see Bo Nix rushing yards, which I really like coming up. But what do you got, Kramer?
Well, you want to do Christmas? You want to do some next? Yeah,
let's do Saturday, Sunday, just so it has the longest shelf life.
Right. Sean doesn't like Christmas.
Oh no, I assumed you wouldn't be celebrating, but yeah, we can do a Christmas one.
All right.
Why don't we do
play.
2? We'll do a Christmas. We'll do a Christmas 2 player entry on Christmas and one for the Saturday Sunday slate.
All right, so you want to start with Christmas?
Yeah, let's start with Christmas.
All right, happy Christmas, everyone.
It's Merry Christmas. I know you're new to the Christmas thing.
All right. Is Pickens playing? We feel good about that?
No. I don't feel good about it. Because if you read his quote, he goes, "I'm going to try to play. I mean, ultimately, that's up to the coaches to decide if I'm able to play or not. I listen to the doctors. Anyone who says I listen to the doctors, I don't trust them to definitely play."
You think he's trying to opt out right now?
No, I don't know. I don't have a read on Pickett's dog mentality, but if the player says I'm going to listen to the doctors, that to me is not an auto means he's playing. I would guess he's playing if I had to choose, and I would say like 80% chance he plays, but it's not 100%. Okay.
I would say that to me, this feels like a game that Najee Harris. If you're asking me, there's Steelers angles.
Pat Freiermuth. The Chiefs are horrible against the tight end.
You're right. That's a good one too. Catches.
Why don't we just do receiving yards? Or I don't know. Do you have a preference?
28.5. Yes, please. No, I'm just getting distracted by all these first half projections. Get out of my face with your incredibly fun shortened game action. Yeah, get yards on Freiermuth.
Okay, easy enough. What else we like? Anything in the late game?
Yeah, we should go. We should do one from each game. Let's see. Baltimore. I mean, like the Lamar rushing angle, it's only 45.5. I think they're going full go. And even if you don't like them to win, I think he's running the ball. We watched him do it against the Giants. If he's doing it against the Giants, he's definitely doing it against the Texans. Much better.
Do we want to do attempts or yards? He only had 22 against the Steelers, but the Steelers do know how to play him.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, the Steelers game is the outlier. It's probably what's drawing the number down. I think I had to go with yards. Okay, because it's 8.5 attempts, meaning the average. Is he going to average 5-6 yards a carry? Probably pretty easily. So I would take the yards.
So Fryermuth higher, 28.5 receiving yards. Lamar Jackson higher, 45.5 rushing yards for our Christmas Day entry. Nice little $100 returns you 300x over an Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. What about the Sunday slate?
All right. Well, do we want? Yeah, let's. I mean, I feel like what was I just looking at the Saturday slate? I was looking at Herbert rushing yards as well.
Ooh. Okay. What's the angle there?
Oh, it's just they're playing the Pats. It's going to be a messy game. Herbert's always undervalued in his rushing.
Yeah, I don't hate it. How's New England against the run?
I'd have to look up their how they are against the quarterback. If we're moving down the board, the night game between the Rams and the Cardinals, I mean, it feels like just taking this. This feels like the kind of game where they're going to be able to just pound Kyron Williams against the
What's
Cardinals.
His number at?
It's 90.5. They don't have attempts either. I was looking for attempts. Limited stuff on Sunday as well. We were talking about the Bucks game. Evans always crushes. His number 78.5.
Oh yeah,
Irvins,
come on. Yeah, okay. Let's just do Mike Evans higher 78.5. Don't need to think more than that. Good matchup for him against the Panthers defense. Must win spot.
Would we also recommend the half rush and receiving touchdowns when that opens?
Sure. But yeah, the 78.5 receiving yards, that's fine. Let's see about
I mean, you can play Brock Bowers is at 70.5. I don't know the exact number, but he's just gonna set records in that game.
Yeah, why not? Brock Bowers, they keep throwing him the football. It's crazy. So higher Brock Bowers 70.5, higher Mike Evans 78.5. Nice little entry there for the weekend. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN.
And worth noting, no prop show this week. I don't know. Follow us on X or whatever. We'll drop some.
Yeah, nuggets. Programming note: no prop show, no VSiN show. Pregame show TBD, but we'll be on social tweeting out some stuff for you guys. So don't worry.
Yeah, it's the holidays. Relax.
Yeah, Ryan's got
my DMs were lit up with people who like Scott Hanson. So I don't know what's going on, but it clearly the Venn diagram of our fans and Scott Hanson fans does overlap a little bit, Sean.
Yeah, I would just say they're probably younger people, Ryan. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a young person. You just don't remember Red Zone pre Scott Hanson. Anyone who watched Andrew Siciliano just navigate a Sunday brilliantly weaving in and out of games, you know, almost like, you know, they called him sweetness back in the day, the way he would just juke and jive. A young Barry Sanders, the way he just avoided the commercials. Andrew Siciliano, Ryan, according to my sources, was willing to take a pay cut not to have commercials on his version of the Red Zone. They said, no, not good enough. We need Scott Hanson. So I think if you like Scott Hanson, it's because you like the Red Zone, which is fine. I love the Red Zone, but go back and watch the tape. Go back and watch some old Siciliano Red Zones. And maybe we'll do that in the offseason, Ryan. He's just
Classic.
a much better version of a Red Zone host. No, so Siciliano for life.
SGPN classics. We're going to be watching week 10. Well, and the real mess of it too is I think your opinion may be formed on how you consume the Red Zone.
Well, so
we've always had DirecTV, and so from the beginning, DirecTV Siciliano existed. But when the NFL Network launched their other Red Zone channel that they then used to sell the NFL Network for a ton of money to these cable companies, that was actually Scott Hanson. I was shocked to find out Scott Hanson started hosting in like 15 years ago, like a long time.
So and easygoing, there was a Red Zone pre Hanson. Yeah, I don't know if it was Well, yeah, and he may never have gotten if he didn't have DirecTV, he never got the Siciliano red zone. I don't know if do we know for sure Siciliano started first? I assume so, but I don't know off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure he was the original host.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with there were two red zones for a very long time up until very recently.
Yeah.
If you watched if you watched on DirecTV, you got a red zone hosted by Andrew Siciliano. If you watched on the one that if you were a cable provider red zone consumer, you got the Hanson. Basically, if you consumed it any other way that wasn't DirecTV, you got the NFL Network's version. So 2005 to 2023, Andrew Siciliano hosted the NFL Sunday Ticket Red Zone, airing on DirecTV, not to be confused with the NFL Red Zone on NFL Network.
Yeah, so he was 2005. So we're just Siciliano honks from the beginning, Ryan. But I think he's a better host.
I will say the other thing was, and I don't know a lot about Scott Hanson's background, but I like Siciliano. There was a different vibe in the way that he hosted it. Not to make fun of Scott Hanson, but you were on to hating Scott Hanson before I was, but there was always an element of Scott Hanson trying to produce additional things around the broadcast that didn't need to be there because it's fucking football, Scott. You don't need Scott Hanson produced segments. You don't need any of that shit. No one gives a fuck. It's football. And Siciliano was better at just doing football, in my opinion. So, yeah.
And we got bottom line bombs, the laddie daddy himself, CJ Sullivan, saying Hanson and NFL Network stole it from DirecTV, just like walking bets. Easy pointing out he was only 10 years old in 2005. Jesus. That's why he doesn't remember him. Jeez, Easy, you're making me feel old. All right, let's see. What else we got?
Real quick. Scott Hanson got he cut his whatever they say. He got a start covering the Bucks when Dungy was the coach back in the day. He also did some news anchoring, which makes a lot of sense. And he started the Red Zone in 2009. So in some ways we were in our own box, Sean, because we didn't even know we didn't consume the other Red Zone for many years. Thankfully. All right, let's move along.
Now this is Zonar is saying L takes Scott Hanson, Cuse alum, is the man. I disagree, Zonar.
That's why everyone loves him. Although Siciliano also a Cuse guy, so both guys are Cuse guys. They have the market corner.
Cuse, you can't escape Cuse in the broadcasting world,
specifically in the sports broadcasting. They are number one. All right, moving to the late window again. Only 2 games, Sean. I could have sworn we were told that this wouldn't happen ever again. 2 games in the late window. Maybe there's an asterisk here because of the Christmas stuff. But we got the Miami Dolphins, the Cleveland Browns. Dolphins laying 6.5 after showing a pulse last week against the San Francisco 49ers. Minus 290 on the money line. Very nice of Shanahan to help McDaniel off the mat. Plus 248 for the Browns. 40 is the total. Don't know if you can back a team with DTR as their quarterback. Do we know that he definitely is going to be the starter this week?
No, I'll pull up the latest, but I was checking earlier. And I could not find.
If Jameis has a chance to play, and that makes me worried. I don't want to be in a position where I'm fading Jameis against Tua.
This is so annoying. Despite having an injured calf, DTR will remain the starter. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I think Jameis you got it on the team, right?
Yeah. I mean, but that's the problem, right? What's going to happen is we're going to take the Dolphins, laying the 6.5 like donkeys, and then DTR is going to run the ball like twice. He's going to go out. He's going to re-aggravate that calf injury. Then Jameis is going to come back and take the team to victory. That's what it feels like. That's what could happen if we take the Dolphins. If we take the Browns, DTR will just look like dog shit and they'll lose by 20. So what are we doing?
I mean, Miami is I think Miami's the right side. To your point. All right, so let's just say whatever Jameis has done here, they don't want to play him, and they're just going to play injured DTR. How do you play the Dolphins? It's a gatekeeping situation here, right? But it's in Cleveland. It's Tua in cold weather, right?
Oh yeah, you know what? That gives us an out. What will the temperature be in Cleveland on Sunday? Because then that makes this handicap very easy.
Should I pull it up on my weather app right here?
It's going to be like 50.
It's going to be warm. It's not under 40.
Right, I'm taking Cleveland. We're going to get the Brownie the Elf is going to pull something out here. You can't. Yeah, I don't know. The Browns defense at home isn't bad. They were like hanging around against the Bengals. So I'll take Jerome Ford could have a nice game. I'll take the Browns plus 6.5.
No, this is such a disgusting game. Why is this the standalone game? I mean, I get it. This is the game you're not going to be watching here, but why is this? Yeah. Why did they make this a late game?
Well, because I think they sacrifice. CBS knows they're not going to be able to win against Green Bay versus Minnesota, so they just put the worst game in the afternoon. I think.
So we're just going to lean into the wacky wind. And it doesn't have to be cold for there to be wind blowing off the water. And we all know what Tua's ball looks like when it gets windy. It's like that Tim Tebow video where the literal duck. Oh yeah, that's right. The duck hunt. We got to bring back the duck hunt sound effect. Yep. Where's that live over here? All right, I guess I'll take. God, I hate this pick. Cleveland plus 6.5.
Let's go.
Right, the game that everyone will be watching. The Green Bay Packers head to Minnesota to take on the Vikings in the spaceship. Huge matchup here. Vikings -1.5, -120 on the money line. Packers plus 102. 48 is the total. Obviously, the Packers short rest here. Does this point spread strike you as a little disrespectful towards the Vikings?
Yeah. I mean, why is this not 3? I know not every home field is at 3, but the Vikings have a pretty decent home field. That spaceship gets pretty loud. They got those crazy Vikings with the long hair riding around on the quads. Brian Flores defense against Jordan Love. Sam Darnold, he's playing well. As much as I'd like to goof on him and make fun of him, why should they not be laying more than 1.5? People keep wanting to fade this Vikings team and think they're gonna hit the wall, and they just haven't.
Yeah. So my take on, I came into this thinking I was going to be on the Packers catching 3 points. Interesting spot. Obviously the Vikings, you put the point.
I thought it'd be like even 3.5.
You put the tinfoil hat on and it's like, the NFL would love to have Lions Vikings next week for all the marbles. Like that's a perfect way to close out the NFL season. And to open it at this, I don't understand are we reacting to what happened? So the look ahead was 2, so it's not much movement, but I just don't understand why this isn't 3. I don't understand. I mean, we're going to see Jordan Love make mistakes. Like he's been so clean the last couple weeks. He hasn't dealt with this kind of defense. It's going to be a different animal. I don't think. I was trying to think about it. Is this game being inside on turf going to help the Packers or the Vikings? I think it's going to help the Vikings more than the Packers. I think the Vikings are more of the speed team. I think if the Packers are smart, I think they'll attack the Vikings like some teams have had success with power and 2 tight ends and hitting them with Josh Jacobs. And so I don't know if that necessarily benefits them being on the turf inside in good conditions here. So. Yeah, I think Jordan Love throws a pick. I think we get back to seeing some mistakes from this offense, and I think Sam Darnold for the win here. I think the receiving core for the Vikings is the toughest matchup the Packers have seen in some time.
Yeah,
Jair Alexander, maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. Always a bit of a wild card there, but I think this is a good matchup here for the Vikings offense. I think this is a good matchup here for the Vikings defense, and I'm shocked to see this number holding at 1.5. So yeah, I guess I'm on Minnesota.
Yeah, Jordan Love had 3 interceptions last time they played. I mean, you could make the case for the Packers revenge factor. I just think Minnesota in that stadium is a really tough out. I think they get the win, they get the cover. So yeah, give me the Vikings. And shout out to Steffi Small. She's has a chance to win the Circa fantasy football championships for a chance of 50K. So knock on wood for you, Steffi. Hit us up in the chat what your biggest sweat is for the championship game. That's going to be a fun sweat for sure. Kramer, couple games left. What do we got?
So I was just thinking about our upcoming fantasy football retirement announcement.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
season
very exciting. Sunday night. You don't call everything else fantasy. You call it DFS or best ball. Come on, we're not donkeys. Sunday night. Curious as to this one being put into the primetime spot compared to the Green Bay Minnesota game. I wonder if it's a network protection. Falcons on the road in our nation's capital, where we'll end up seeing two rookies face off here. Penix and Jaden Daniels. There are alternate versions of this where Penix starts week 1, and I am sweating my 80-1 rookie of the year bet, or 60-1, whatever it is. Penix and the Falcons +4, +176 on the money line. Redskins, Commanders, football teams laying 200. All the money coming in early on the Redskins, 79% to be exact. And Sean, I haven't really marked too many teams, but it does seem like the Falcons could be one of the sharp plays this week, which I don't quite understand. Again, I think it's box score reading. You can say that Michael Penix looked fine in his first start.
Yeah, because he did.
But now the situation flips to a road game against a slightly more difficult team. Granted, they're catching a couple points, but much like the Packers Vikings game, Sean, this number struck me as being a little on the short side, or a little bit off. And in this case, it's the short side. I don't typically want to lay more than a field goal with Jaden Daniels in this offense, especially coming off a big spot, but still alive to win the division, although they'll know at this point. And more importantly, they're alive for a wild card spot, and essentially this clinches them a playoff spot. So
yeah, I mean, I guess the case against Washington is them coming off the Eagles win, huge letdown opportunity for them. What would counterbalance it is, that they're at Sunday night. I think you do take Washington here. I could see the sharp appeal in Atlanta, the yard per play honks and that kind of stuff. But to your point, even though I thought Penix looked fine, going on the road in a primetime game, little different spot, and now they're tied for the division lead. Like, this is a crazy amount of pressure for your second start for a team that doesn't really have a bunch of good players around Michael Penix, or at least like not a very cohesive offense. Now, if Jaden Daniels turns the ball over like Drew Lock did, certainly, they're in play. And hats off to Atlanta's defense for creating those. But if Washington can play a relatively clean game, and I don't know if they can. I mean, they turned the ball over 5 times, Ryan. I mean, now that for a team that turned the ball over 5 times and got the win, many would say that's an outlier case, and this would be the ultimate time to fade them.
Yeah, that was going against the completely different defensive animal. If anything, this Falcons defense, people are going to be thinking high of because of what they just did. And I think this is going to be a much more difficult situation. And I don't expect, one of those pick sixes was a wild ass, like, defensive lineman deflection return, but again, 2 defensive touchdowns. You almost always have to fade a team after that kind of performance. And I do think that the way that Falcons play defense, Jaden Daniels is going to have a big game. Like, Jaden Daniels is gonna have a big game here in prime time. This is a lock potential, Sean.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not a buyer of this Falcons team. I know they just won and covered.
I'm not either. But
Michael Penix will look bad. I think Dan Quinn's going to eat him up. He looked very at times. He looked very decisive when the first thing he was supposed to do was there. He looked very slow when he had to go to 2 and process and maybe run. And athletically, he looked very slow. I think he could get eaten up here if the running game doesn't show up for the Falcons.
But you were pretty biased coming in on Michael Penix. You were looking for every like kind of okay pass. You're like, yeah, he sucks.
I think he made a lot of find plays and find decisions. I think he also made a lot of questionable decisions that against a different team might end up differently. That's all. Monday night, the Lions, who have to win to keep up their part of the bargain. Oh, I guess either way, they would be playing the Vikings for the number 1 seed next week. Now with the Eagles losing, Lions laying 3.5 here on the road. No one's betting on the Niners early in the week. Niners plus 168 on the money line. Lions minus 190. 50.5 is the total. This is a back-to-back road spot, and again, the Lions just keep that gas pedal pushed down. Does not seem to matter. I'm still of the belief that it won't matter because this is that last trip with you and all your boys before everyone gets married or whatever other horrible stuff might happen to your life. That everyone knows this is the window. And so even with all these injuries, they keep persevering. And I saw a dead team last week with the Niners, not completely dead, because there was some heart from some guys. Shout out to Debo, showed up for maybe the second time all year. But I just don't think this team's very good anymore. They've lost too much of the critical mass that makes this team good. And while the system is still going to allow them to be decent, they're not going to defeat a motivated team. They're not going to defeat a motivated team that can still block you up on the offensive line. You're going to have to take advantage of their defense, which, by the way, even with some of the weighted metrics, they're still playing okay. They're still causing mistakes, and the Niners have shown they will make mistakes. And so I have no reason to believe that. And by the way, Jared Goff from the Bay Area, so a little bit of a homecoming here. And while we have said bad things about Jared Goff's ability to play outdoors, he once again proves us wrong. Goes in a cold atmosphere, plays well. So I'm laying the points with Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. I still think they get the number 1 seed, and God, please win the division. I need to cash this division winning parlay with the Chiefs already.
Well, this is interesting because if Vikings lose earlier on, they would clinch the 1 seed. So would they be playing their starters? I mean, Dan Campbell, as he's shown previously, he does play the starters, but maybe you're not getting the best number. Maybe the number shifts. I'm with you. The revenge spot for Detroit. San Francisco feels like a pretty dead team right now. So yeah, I think you got to lay it with 3.5, but it will be interesting to see what happens here if the Vikings end up losing earlier.
So do you do a little Packers, and if you like that Packers, maybe you parlay it with the Niners? But when has Dan Quinn ever not gone for it? I don't think he changes that opinion, even though it caused him an injury last year.
Yeah, even though Sam Laporta, it cost him. He doesn't care about that. He's still gonna go for the gusto there. So yeah, I'm with you. I think you got to take the Lions, laying the 3.5. All right, Ryan, time for the lock, dog, and tease, brought to you by Rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. If you don't have your NFL betting models going on Rhythm, what are you waiting for? Great for props as well, especially late in the year here. Love Rhythm and the 7-day free trial. Get started today. Get your models going, and it's very easy to put together a model. Just slide the sliders. It's very easy to set up, and yeah, they've been having a really good season. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Get you the 7-day free trial today, right? Well, both my model and Rhythm's model likes the Kansas City Chiefs laying 2.5. So sharp action maybe here by Rhythm. They are tailing my model, so they're looking pretty good there. They also like the Chargers laying 3.5. Get your models set up today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
It's a nice tout move by yourself there. Making sure getting the best number.
Well, it's 2.5 in the circuit contest as well. So I'm not crazy by saying KC minus 2.5 is a consensus line.
That's fine. I mean, at whatever time when we started, the number was 3, but that's okay.
No,
that's fair.
I'm just telling you what it's in the contest. And shout out to Jong. Merry Christmas, Jong. Doing some like bullying here for the holidays. Appreciate that as always, Jong.
Wow, only 10 likes? That is disrespectful. All right, lock number 1. Give me Cincinnati minus 3.
Oh, going against The Denver Broncos and Bo Nix, Ryan.
No, I'm just playing it. Playing it safe, trying to eliminate some of the try hard variants with just games where both teams need it. Lock number 2, Minnesota -1.5. This stuck out to me big time as just what are we doing here? Dog, we talked it out pretty nicely, and I can't. That's actually, that would be embarrassing. I can't give out the Jets. I'll go to my. I'll pivot. The Cardinals one more time. I think a lot of people are going to be smashing the Rams here. Got to have it game. We see one of these every year. Team who got to have it. Team nothing to play for in the division, and they completely shatter everything for that other team. Give me the Cardinals money line. Brown's also a fun one if you're looking for a secondary tease. Great week for teasers. Give me the Bucks laying 2. It's a great number.
Yep.
Give me the. I'll do the Eagles down to 3.
Okay. Teasing Kenny Pickett.
Yep. And then I'll tease the Jets up to 16 or 15.5. And let's hope, Bill's motivation doesn't have to be there all the way.
So wait, you're teasing the Jets?
Yep. 16 or 15.5.
All right. Okay. For me, Indy -8 first lock. I'm fading dead teams. I also give me KC -3. Like I said, my bookie circa now has a 2.5, but I'll play the 3 for my dog. Give me the Denver Broncos on the money line. Are you kidding me? One last win for Bo Nix in the regular season. Let's go. See the chat firing up with the reactions to our picks, Ryan.
That's fine.
For the tease, you got to put Tampa Bay -2 in the tease. I'm surprised you didn't lock up the Commanders, Ryan. Seem to be pretty strong on them.
They're close.
I'm gonna tease through 0. Give me the Minnesota Vikings +4.5. I think either way, this is going to be a field goal game. So I'm doing the crazy thing and teasing through 0. And then give me Houston +11.5. I don't think they get blown out at home against the Ravens. All right. So for our circa million, Cincy -3, Minnesota -1.5, Indy -8, KC -2.5 on the circa line. And then what do we want to toss in for our last consensus play, Ryan?
I mean, we agree on a lot of stuff.
Feels like we got to go dog, though. We got all chalk there.
Do we want to throw the Saints in there? See if Kamara and Carr can come back. We get a good number.
I like that. Fading the Raiders off a win. Let's go. So officially, Bengals -3, Mini -1.5, Indy -8, KC -2.5, and New Orleans Saints +1. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN, Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. Smash that subscribe button. Everyone, appreciate hearing from you. Like I said, worst case, we'll see you Monday night talking college football playoff, the rest of the bowl games. But we'll probably be on social there at X, Sean T. Green, Kramer Centric, Gambling Podcast. Hit us up with some picks and props. We'll be firing on those later in the week. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, Stack of the Money Green. He's Ryan.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Kramer, let it ride.